U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. announcing Friday that the suspected gunman in the National Guardsman shooting will now face upgraded charges. This after specialist Sarah Beckstrom died on Thursday from her injuries. The FBI is currently investigating the shooting as an act of terrorism. NewsNation's Marcus Espinoza is here with more. Marcus, I was here on the desk when that story broke. It's just so heartbreaking. What are we learning this morning?
And a good morning. Yeah, it is heartbreaking here, and now new charges are being brought against this suspect here. U.S. Attorney for D.C. Jeanine Pirro announced Friday that Rahmanullah Lackenwall will now face a first-degree murder charge following the death of one of the two National Guard soldiers injured in Wednesday's attack. This on top of the other charges the 29-year-old Afghan national faces for possession of a firearm and assault with intent to kill. More details are now emerging about the alleged shooter in this attack. He was living in Bellingham, Washington prior to Wednesday's attack. He entered the U.S. back in 2021 as part of an Afghan refugee resettlement program. Now, the FBI raided his apartment where he had been living with his wife and 5 children before he drove all the way across the country to D.C. He reportedly worked with the U.S. government during the war in Afghanistan, collaborating, in fact, with the CIA. His missions included combat assignments involving suspected terrorists. Now, he also likely had extensive vetting. Lackenwall applied for asylum last December and was granted that earlier this year. He is now in custody awaiting trial on those charges. Attorney General Pam Bondi has already made it clear that the government will be seeking the death penalty here, Hena.
I also want to ask you about the fallen National Guard member, Sarah Beckstrom. A vigil was held last night. What did we learn from that?
Well, you can imagine the outpouring for her, right? So young, so tragic here, right? And then we also have a second victim we'll get to there. So right now, the vigil was held in Beckstrom's hometown of Webster Springs. That's what we know here, West Virginia. That's where that is. And the community showed out in full force to honor the 20-year-old National Guard specialist. West Virginia State Senator Robbie Morris spoke at the candlelight vigil, calling her a kind and compassionate leader. Beckstrom was not originally scheduled to be working, but volunteered instead to stay in D.C. so others could spend the holiday with their family. She joined the National Guard in 2023, shortly after graduating high school, and hoped one day to join the FBI. Now, the other victim, 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, remains in the hospital in critical condition at this time. In a visit to the D.C. Armory Friday, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth led a prayer for both victims, sharing that he and his wife visited Wolf in the hospital. Take a listen.
And we're also praying for Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf of the Air National Guard, an airman fighting for his life right now. My wife and I had a chance briefly last night to be there, lay hands on him and pray over him. And I promised his mother one thing, that we would keep praying for him.
Certainly, every day he survives is good news. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff following this tragedy. There's also going to be another vigil held for Beckstrom later tonight. So a lot of outpouring of love and support for them as this investigation continues. And I know you're going to have more here with Jackie.
Yeah, and again, just so incredibly young, Marcus Espinoza. Thank you for that update.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.